This psalm has the longest title in the Psalter. After many psalms which David wrote in a day of distress, this psalm was calculated for a day of triumph. He wrote this psalm after he was settled in the throne, and God gave him victory over Syrians and Edomites. This we read in 2 Samuel, chapter 8, 1 to 13, and 1 Chronicles, chapter 18, 3 to 12, where we read that God gave victory to David. David in prosperity was a devout, as he is in an adversary in this psalm. And this teaches to the God's church and God's people to be calm even in grievous calamities. Sometimes when we are in trouble, we grumble, and when we are prosper, we forget our Lord. But this psalm teaches us that whatever befalls on us, we should be calm and we should give thanks to God. In this psalm, two images are told. One is wine and the other is shoe. In verse 3, we read that thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. So this wine is an image to certain things. It is used in the Bible many times. Wine of cup was presented to the people, and here we see that this image of wine is used for trouble. The verse says that to drink the wine of astonishment. In the Bible we read at many times that this image has been used, the cup of wine, the cup of judgment. In Jeremiah we read chapter 25, 15 to 38, that God gives punishment to the people, and he says that put this cup of judgment on the nations. And then the cup of wrath is mentioned in the Bible. We read in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39, the cup of wrath. Jesus drank the cup of wrath. So this image has been frequently used in the Bible. And then there is another image, that is shoe. Verse 8 we read, Moab is my washpot, over Edom will I cast out my shoe. To show shoe or to throw at someone's, it means that you have a hatred, and it is a sign of contempt when we show this shoe to other people. In many countries, this word has been used by people when they are angry with their children. The parents say, I will beat you with my shoe. If anyone has enmity with anyone, he will show the shoe that I hate you. So this image has been used here shoe. I will cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. So these two images have been used in this psalm. And then from verses 6 to 8, some verses speak of the inheritance of the promised land. We know that God promised with Abraham that I will give you this land. And God fulfilled his promise. And God speaks about the division of the promised land. These areas are by Jordan or in the region of Transjordan. Still, we read about these places that they are near Jordan and people are living there. We often hear on the TV that Israelites and the Philistines, they are fighting with one another. And these places are near Jordan. In verse 11, the psalmist, he prays in hope that God will help them. And this teaches us that when we are in trouble, we should pray to God and we should trust God because he is faithful in his promises. In trouble, we should look to God. And the psalmist says that we should not look towards men for help. It is meaningless. It is nothing. Man cannot help you. So he says that we should trust God, that God will help us. And it is very encouraging for us that when we are in trouble, when we face some problems, we should look to God. We should pray to God that God, you help us and you give us the guidance. And this psalm tells two things. First, that we should trust God and we should depend upon God. And secondly, that God helps us. He is faithful in his promises. And he gives wisdom and he gives strength so that we may overcome our difficulties and problems. This psalm has written by David, and this has a great long title of the psalm. To the chief musician upon choosing it, this it means that Shushan Edith, this is the name of the instrument or a song or tunes, but it has forgotten now. Nobody knows about this tune. And then it is mentioned about Aram, Narim. It is the Syrians, they are called by this name. And this name they have got from Aram, the son of Shem. Genesis chapter 10, verse 22. And this country between two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. And then there is another word, Aram Zobah, are the Syrians of Zobah. They are also a part of Syria. And this is found in 2 Samuel chapter 8, verses 5 and 12. And the psalmist complaining of former sad judgments, verses 1 to 3. And then verse 4, he acknowledges God's present mercy, that God is very merciful. And from verses 5 to 12, comforting himself in the promise, he prays for help and he trusteth God, that God will help us. He says that, will not thou, O God, which has cast us off, and then, O God, which does not go out with our armies, give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. He trusts God, that God will help us.